Hello, welcome to this week's podcast. We've got no dreams or any updates on the week because we are doing part 2. We've already told you all of that on the beginning of the last one.
It might be a fortnight for you, but it's been about an hour for us.
Yes, we've had lunch and come back. That's all that's happened.
Well, no, we went to the bar.
Oh, we did go to the bar to buy a few bits, yeah.
And there was no maize bread left.
And you've bought your lottery ticket.
I've bought the winning lottery ticket.
No, because I've already got the winning lottery ticket, which reminds me, have I? I need to check. Anyway, yes, it's 120 million euro. How ridiculous.
Such a lot of money, isn't it?
So, anyway, we're on part 2 of advice for people who are 60 and over. It might be worth anybody younger watching it, just to get a heads up, really.
Yes. If you're 59, you probably should be making provisions.
Yes, so let's get back to our questions. The next one says, always stay up to date, read newspapers, watch the news, go online and read what people are saying, and make sure you have an active email account and try to use some of those social networks. I just had that. And you'll be surprised at what old friends you'll meet.
Go on, Jan.
Obviously mixed feelings on that
Yes.
one, because I would say to people, do not keep up to date with the news and newspapers, because I avoid them like the plague, because that's what keeps me happy in my bubble.
Yes.
Yes, if anything urgent came up and I needed to know it, I dare say it would be up so much on the news I wouldn't be able to avoid it. But go online and read what people are saying. What do they mean by that?
I think
that can aggravate people, can't it?
I think a lot of people, maybe not 60s, but definitely 70s and 80s, don't engage with social media at all.
No,
that's the first
true
thing.
with that, yeah.
And I think that's a shame, because I think it's one of those, keeping up to date is one of those things that can keep you young. I'm not an
Yeah, depending on what you're keeping up to date with.
Yeah, I'm not an overuser, but I do like having a look at people I used to work with and whether they're doing interesting things. I like that side of it, and obviously living in France and having friends in the UK, it's a really good way of staying in touch.
I do think social media's definitely got a place as you get older.
Yes.
Because because you can keep in touch with people, find people, and I think you're prone to, some people might not go out very much, and so it's another way of still keeping social. I mean, I don't go out tons, but I don't sort of avoid people as much, more than I used to, but it's addictive, I know, but it makes me smile. So
yes.
what can be wrong with something that makes you smile and makes you laugh?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it can make me laugh, and I'll laugh and think, why am I laughing at this?
For editing.
Yeah, so let's get back to our questions. The next one says, always stay up to date, read newspapers, watch the news, go online and read what people are saying, and make sure you have an active email account and try to use some of those social networks. I just had that. And you'll be surprised at what old friends you'll meet.
Go on, Jan.
Obviously mixed feelings on that
Yes.
one, because I would say to people, do not keep up to date with the news and newspapers, because I avoid them like the plague, because that's what keeps me happy in my bubble.
Yes.
Yes, if anything urgent came up and I needed to know it, I dare say it would be up so much on the news I wouldn't be able to avoid it. But go online and read what people are saying. What do they mean by that?
I think
that can aggravate people, can't it?
I think a lot of people, maybe not 60s, but definitely 70s and 80s, don't engage with social media at all.
No,
that's the first
true
thing.
with that, yeah.
And I think that's a shame, because I think it's one of those, keeping up to date is one of those things that can keep you young. I'm not an
depending on what you're keeping up to date with.
I'm not an overuser, but I do like having a look at people I used to work with and
Yeah.
whether they're doing interesting things. I like that side of it, and obviously living in France and having friends in the UK, it's a really good way of staying in touch.
I do think social media's definitely got a place as you get older.
Yes.
Because, because you can keep in touch with people, find people. And I think, you're prone to, some people might not go out very much, and so it's another way of still keeping social. I mean, I don't go out tons, but I don't sort of avoid people as much, more than I used to, but it's addictive, I know, but it makes me smile. So
yes.
what can be wrong with something that makes you smile and makes you laugh?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it can make me laugh, and I'll laugh and think, why am I laughing at this? This rubbish. But the important bit of it is if you can actually speak to people. If you can speak to people you haven't seen for such a long time, I think it's a really good thing, because years ago you'd have just lost touch with them, that'd be it, wouldn't it?
Yes, it makes you feel warm and fuzzy sometimes.
It does make you feel warm and fuzzy.
I mean, a lot. I have Facebook. I have Instagram. I have TikTok. I probably use Instagram more than anything else because my kids are still active on that. So it's a good way of knowing what they're up to. Facebook, I think, for me, tends to be people our age.
Do you think?
Yeah, I think a lot of young people have abandoned Facebook.
Well, I was just thinking as you were saying it, because I know I don't really see. I see my eldest on her occasionally, but only because she shares those silly things. I can't remember what they're called really. They call them face tests or something.
It's like they predict her future, don't
they?
they?
Things like that. She just does that. April doesn't use it much at all, and Alan is very rarely on it. So it's only. I went on there to keep in touch with my kids, and they don't use it.
Yes. They move on,
Instagram, only April. I think she's the only one that uses it. So it's funny, isn't it? They're younger, but they use it less than we do.
Yeah.
So it's a shame,
WhatsApp,
really.
I love.
Yeah.
That is my way of staying in touch.
Yeah, same here. But even mine don't all use it all the time. They seem to have moved away from social media, basically.
Well, my son, my oldest, I would say, rarely uses social media. And maybe that is because a large part of his job involves, because he does campaign management, so he's on social media all the time for his job. Maybe it loses its interest in his social life.
Yeah.
But, I think it's a good thing. News we differ on, don't we?
Definitely.
I can do what's called these days doom scrolling, which is where you get into a bit of a fug because you've just read an article on when World War III starting. But I enjoy politics and economics, so that side of it I find interesting, and I think it's one of those things that keeps my mind active. It's making sure I don't overdo it. But then again,
I just close down. If anything, it makes me feel panicky inside and horrible, and I think it's a huge effect on people and why they end up with depression and stuff. So many people say avoid social media, avoid news and everything, and even Facebook. I was so tempted at one point to come off that because they kept people, especially during COVID and times, they just keep talking politics and talking stuff. And I'm going to get annoyed because it gets my back up, and I'm going to start being negative and saying things. I'd rather just not engage at all.
Yeah.
If anything, I was probably blocking people and just not bothering.
That's probably why I came off Twitter. I found Twitter very toxic.
It does seem to be very political, doesn't it? Because a lot of politicians and people like tend to use it, don't they?
Yeah.
I mean, the other thing as well, like when you open your phone, and I'd like Google, and then if you've got the Discovery on, it's as soon as you open it up, there's like thumbnails of news.
Yes.
As soon as you open it up, and obviously you can't help but look, and then I've ended up getting totally depressed or fed up with it. So I turned that off all the time. When I got a new phone, it was automatically on there, and it come on again. I don't know, randomly. So I just keep that off, and then I don't see it. But it will try it on Google on the computer. It will try and pump you with all this negative stuff, and I don't like it.
She doesn't like it.
So yeah, I agree with some of that.
Yeah.
I mean, I've always had active email account because I don't know why it's. I suppose really, again, it's hard to avoid. There's a lady I watch called is it Mean Scrimper or something? She calls herself.
Yes.
She avoids any social media she can, other than the fact that she's on YouTube, and I think because she uses that as a bit of a platform to air her views on stuff, and she's very. She doesn't want to. I think she deals in cash. She doesn't even want to use bank accounts or anything like that. But all the time it comes on, she says they are forcing us to do it. We have no choice. We've got to have a bank card, and we've got to do this, and And she said, why should we? But they do. Yeah, they are. It's getting to that point where they do make you do that. I mean, especially now soon they're going to be doing away with cash, aren't they?
There's a lot of people campaigning to keep cash at the moment.
Is there?
Now? Yeah, there's a bit of a campaign to keep cash because they're saying it keeps a specific part of the economy going. You know, I don't have that. I don't have that fear of online and online banking and things like that.
No, I don't. I mean, there are again usually. I think it's from a certain generation, like my grandparents would have been really worried about doing it, wouldn't they? Because they didn't trust them.
Yeah. Well, I've got friends my age who don't use online banking.
Yeah.
Who will still go into the bank and pay checks in and things like that. Well, I don't bother.
Again, it's coming to the point where you're going to have to have an email account. You're going to have to have a computer because the banks will disappear, because they are already disappearing and being made into bars, for goodness sake. So, I mean, it's difficult for us now because we're in France. I've got an English account, but because I'm abroad, even though they want you to do online banking, I can't with that account because I'm abroad, because they worry about money laundering.
Money laundering's a big thing, isn't it?
So there's good and bad about it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, because that would have been the ideal situation to be online, because we're abroad and you haven't got to go all the way back to the UK to deal with any financing that side.
So I think go online as long as it's having a positive effect on you.
Definitely. I mean,
Jan's going to stay in a bubble. I'm not going to tell her what's happened today.
No, even though you slip up occasionally.
I do. I go, you saw that thing? Yeah. No, don't say.
But it surprised me because even, I don't know if it was you or someone else said it, we sit the other day, and because I don't watch it and doesn't, I mean, he used to still watch a bit of news, but even he doesn't now because it gets to him a bit. And someone said something the other day, and he just said, we don't know because we don't watch it. Yes. We don't. We just don't buy papers. We don't watch. And because, as we always say, there's nothing we can do about it, so why depress ourselves about it?
Yes.
Right.
Knowledge is power.
No, it's not. It depends on what knowledge, even in sewing and stuff, knowledge to me, I can listen to it, but I won't necessarily do anything about it. Right, so you want to go to the next one?
Yes. I believe in this a lot.
Right.
This is one thing I've always I don't want to put my stool on it, do I?
No.
That's an odd expression.
That is.
I'm just going to say I like it.
Yeah.
I can't think of the right idiom now.
I can't think what you'd want for that. No, basically you just agree with it.
I do agree with it.
Yeah.
Respect the younger generation and their opinions. They may not have the same ideas as you, but they are the future and will take the world in their direction. Give advice, not criticism, and try to remind them that yesterday's wisdom still applies today. Never use the phrase, in my time, your time is now. As long as you're alive, you're a part of this time.
Yeah, it's hard not to say, occasionally you might say in our day, or when I was younger, things like that, because you're always going to compare, aren't you?
Yes.
But usually you're going to compare and say, it's got better or something, but there are certain things that you wish had stayed.
Better. I don't like people who go, oh, young people of today, they don't know they're born, and because it's not
having
true.
said that, I have said that because generally I would, if they're saying they think they've got it bad, and in certain situations it was probably worse way back. But I don't know. It's a difficult one because again, it's an individual thing.
I think our children and their generations have it pretty hard these days.
Oh yeah.
I think we're the generation that bucketed it all up. You know, we're the ones that's sold all the social housing. We're the ones who had the 100% mortgages, and then the house prices went wild. So there are people of our generation who are sitting on hundreds of thousands of pounds or euros just because something happened at the right time for them, and they take it as something that they did. They didn't do it. They were just in the right place to do it.
Yeah.
You know, and all this, young people can't get on the property ladder because they spend too much money on flat whites and avocados.
Oh no, that's rubbish.
Is rubbish, and I think it's
because all they're trying to do is make something of their life because they can't get a property. They're trying to make
exactly.
it
and I think
positive.
If we were in the position that they're in, we would have struggled. Definitely would have struggled. You know.
It's funny when I think. See, I'm doing it now. When I think back, we probably thought we were struggling then. That's what I'm saying. But yeah, they've definitely got it worse because they can't. Things aren't coming to them as easily, or like a mortgage, like you say, and just look at what they've had to put up with already in their life. You know, with COVID and wars going on everywhere and everything. You know, it's just not. It's not easy, and everything's so expensive. I was watching that Carla that I watch. She does a lot of stuff where she's bought stuff, which that's a whole new story. But because it just to me just looks like greed, because you're just showing everybody what you've bought all the time. But she did today's as an example where she goes to this shop that she goes to because it's good prices.
Yes.
And she put on the table what she'd bought, and it was so little compared to what she used to be able to buy, you know. And she's right, because I mean we at the moment see it all the time, don't we? We go shopping and it's things like that. It's got ridiculous. And when I've got a daughter who's living alone with 3 kids and having to deal with all this on her own, so because they've all got to be fed, they've still got to have a roof over their head and everything.
Yeah.
And it's just not easy.
No.
I don't think it's ever been easy to bring up children on your own, but more so, I think, now. I know there's probably more benefits in place maybe than there was when...
I don't even think there are.
No?
I think the level of benefits is lower from
is it?
our generation. Yeah. You should watch more news, Jan, then you'd know these things.
Well, I'll just go by, you know, what I hear from my kids, I suppose. And, because you hear all the time about there's benefits, same as they say for here. There's benefits out there. You just got to find them. I don't know what's been taken away, obviously.
Oh, they've never kept a level up. You know, they've never kept pace with. Because I mean, in our day, if you were renting and you were entitled to housing benefit, that would have covered your whole rent, wouldn't it? Automatically.
Say that again.
Say you were on income support.
Yeah.
When you were when we were in our 20s and 30s, say.
Yeah.
We would have been entitled to housing benefit.
Yeah.
And that housing benefit would have covered the cost of the rent. Automatically.
The whole thing? I don't remember that.
Automatically it would have covered the whole of the rent.
But you had to pay a certain amount of it though, didn't you?
You used to have to pay your water charges, and that was it.
Yeah, maybe. So I didn't have benefits for very long, so I probably just don't remember it that much.
And now, of course, there's a fixed price. So they'll say, you're a woman on your own, say, therefore you're entitled to a very small 1-bed, and we think the price for a very small 1-bed should be, and that's all we're giving you. So it doesn't take into account that some parts of London are very expensive, and you may have to pay more. So
it's the same price across the board?
Yeah, they just set a price.
How ridiculous. These are the people that are stating this while they sit in their mansions, you mean?
Well, I mean, we're getting into politics now.
I know, I don't like that either. But
there's a high percentage of the Tory government in the UK that are landlords. So they're going to put things in place to suit them.
Okay.
We've gone on the subject. Apart from that, though, I like the idea of still reading books from young authors. Because again, people will say, "Oh, you know, I only read Dickens, or I only read Jane Austen," or they're stuck in the past in their habits. And the same with music. I will listen to new music. I won't say, "Oh, you know, only soul and Motown from the 70s."
No, I'm the same. If I like it, I'll listen to it across the board.
But a lot of people do. They've stayed in the 1980s.
Oh God, yeah. My cousins are still listening to Elvis.
They just don't shift, do they? And I think they're missing out, and they don't necessarily then have an understanding of younger people either. So
no, one thing I will say with yes, the lyrics on some of the songs shows you how people are feeling, which can be a bit sad if you really listen to some of the lyrics of the songs they write now. I think that's a bit of a sign of the times, sort of thing.
Yes, yeah, yeah.
So it's not a really good thing, but it's giving them a platform to air their views, isn't it? Get things off their chest.
And again, it's about respecting the art, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. No, you do have to listen to them. Exactly like it says here, they are the future, so they should be listening to them. What's the point? And keep thinking you've got to do it, this is the way it's got to be done, and they could change and it could get better. Is it me or you?
Yeah.
Some people embrace their golden years, while others become bitter and surly. Life is too short to waste your days on the latter. Spend your time with positive, cheerful people. It'll rub off on you and your days will seem that much better. Spending your time with bitter people will make you feel older and harder to be around. I couldn't agree with that more, because they say all the time to hang around people that will basically will cheer you up or make you feel better, and I do avoid negative people if I can.
Yeah.
It's not always possible.
No.
And they might just be
some of us need
chest.
Exactly. Some of us need people to talk to.
Yeah, but I mean, it depends who it is as well. I mean, a prime example is being here. We've come here for a better life, and yet you've got people that have moved here and they're constantly moaning about the French.
Yes.
And they are well out of my life, gone. Why did you come here then? You know, why moan about it? Some people just do like to really grumble, don't they?
My mum, she did have some good qualities, but she was quite a bitter person.
Yeah?
Yeah. She didn't like it. She was more sympathetic to my dad when he was doing badly. And then with his third wife, went through a couple, he then had a much higher standard of living and higher than hers. And then she was quite bitter about it. So she had a real jealous streak. She was very jealous
it's horrible
of other people.
To grow up with bitterness in you.
It is. And that's part of that not regretting as well. Oh, if I'd done that. Or to feel hard done by as well. I think you get people who go, oh, if that hadn't happened and this hadn't happened, you know, then I'd have more money in the bank. And yeah, I don't like people that do that. And they're usually the people who blame other people for their situation.
Well, I was going to say, because I know it's not always everybody but you are in control of your life. It's up to you to make decisions. Why blame other people for that? It's a hard one. I mean, it's always easier to blame someone else, isn't it, as well?
Yes.
Because why would it be me? I've done everything I can, but if you stop and thought about it, you probably could have done it a different way.
Yes. And sometimes you do things and it doesn't turn out the way it should have done. Oh, that's life.
It's a lesson learned. Do it different next time.
But I think as we get older and people start to reflect back on their life, not everybody is positive about that experience.
No, I mean, and I think some people do attract negativeness as well if they're like that. It does. I don't know, it's weird. I mean, it's like my policy is whenever I can is to take a positive out of anything. soon as if Dunk's feeling really fed up with work or anything, I'll always, just say, yeah, but if, just think about it. If it weren't for that, you wouldn't have that. That's all. And I just always try. It's that silver lining thing.
Yes.
It's trying to get a positive out of everything where you can, and it does make you feel better about things. It doesn't change the situation, but you just got to look at it from a different perspective. My voice keeps my voice.
We're both a bit like that today, aren't we?
Yeah. So yeah, it was about I'm trying to embrace my golden years. I think we said earlier, I'm starting to feel my age now, and I'm trying to embrace it. But it's hard. It is hard, isn't it, when you...
They do say youth's wasted on the young.
Yes, that's right. Youth is wasted on the young. But I think it's
just...
Kind of, it's hard.
Knew then what I know now.
If you're suffering a lot, it's hard to keep upbeat all the time, isn't it? Because pain does drag you down, or certain things can drag you down. But I do try and think of a positive out of it where I can.
And we're still here. I don't want that to sound awful, but I've lost friends in their 50s and early 60s that aren't here to moan about the aches and pains.
And that I find mind-blowing.
Lucky.
Yeah, I find that mind-blowing.
Yeah.
It's just, life isn't fair, and but then again, if it was in life, they said to you, right, well, you'll all live until this age, and then you knew that was the age you were going, my God, you'd all be topping yourself anyway. Well, I'm going next year, wouldn't you? You just wouldn't, it just, I suppose, keeps life interesting.
Just enjoy what we have.
Yeah, it says spend your time positive, it's just, it's not always easy, but do it, if you can, do it. And avoid bitter people. Not just bitter, just not necessarily bitter, are they? They might just be just negative all the time. That wouldn't be bitter as well necessarily, would it? Just always thinking on. Think optimistically rather than pessimistically.
Yes. But don't stop listening to Sharon if she needs to.
No, we won't. Well, no, you've got to. Well, the thing is, though, you've got to listen to friends' woes to get them out of that, to then get them thinking positively.
Exactly.
So you can read the next one?
Yeah. This is interesting as well. Do not surrender to the temptation of living with your children or grandchildren, if you have a financial choice, that is. Sure, being surrounded by family sounds great, but we all need our privacy. They need yours. They need theirs, and you need yours. Even then, do so only if you feel you really need the help or do not want to live by yourself. Now, what do you think?
I wouldn't really want to put that on my children to live with them, because I personally would find it really hard having my parents live with me.
Yes.
And the thoughts of having to, because there's no choice, and it's horrible to make you think like that, but yeah, I can't even. No, it's difficult. I suppose I would entertain it. I mean, I can say this, my parents aren't around anymore, but if you've got the opportunity to have an annex on your children's house or at the bottom of their garden, so you can still live independently and have privacy, then that, I think, could work, because then you've got someone on hand. It's a bit like assisted living, isn't it?
Yes.
So, and you wouldn't, I mean, you've got to be the right sort of person that you, even in that situation, that you'd leave your children to have their life as well, and be, you have your friends round and blah blah. So you've got to be in the right sort of relationship, haven't you? I think
you've got to be in the right relationship, and it's got to be for all the right reasons. You don't want them resenting the fact that you're there, do you?
No, exactly.
Or them feeling that they've lost something. You both want to gain from it, don't you?
There are some children, people's children, that are so protective of their parents. I mean, you hear of it in like Italy and even in France. So they're really, and India. And it always makes us look terrible, really. But they all really look after their parents, don't they?
They've had a different culture where there's an expectation.
Yeah. I mean, she's great and it looks really lovely, but I just think to be tied and knowing you've got to do that and not be able to have your own life, I think it's a tough one.
Yeah. I mean, again, annex at the bottom of the garden. You know, as you know, Daisy has promised me one.
Yeah.
And at the moment, all they've got is a wooden shed painted pink.
Yeah. Well, we've got a friend who goes to Chairfit. I mean, she's lucky that when she goes over to see her family, they've got an annex and she's got somewhere to go to when she goes over. And I do think that's quite amazing because you got that security of your family being there, but long as you know that you can't keep intruding on their life, that's got to be clear, isn't it? The rules, as it were, have got to be clear.
Set those down really early on, don't you? I mean, again, I'm talking about my friend Natalie, who was here last week. Her mum is in her mid-80s now, and her and her sister have both said they will not let her go into hospital or into, well, hospital if she obviously needed emergency care, or into a home. They're very definite about keeping her in her own home. And I understand the sentiment of that. You know, because you do see people. I mean, again, Cheryl who was here, her father-in-law went into hospital with a urine infection, and 3 weeks later he died. Because, I mean, people worry about the level of care that you're receiving. Not that the doctors and nurses aren't good enough, but just that they're spread so thinly. They're not getting the care that they need and deserve. My mum had dementia. I mean, we are talking, you know, she died 10 years ago. Had dementia, and I was about an hour away. I lived about an hour away from where she lived, and she was on her own. And I was considering bringing her to my house and looking after her in my house. And my friend said, "What are you thinking? You can't provide her with the level of care that she needs, you know." And I think that was the right decision.
I think people can take on too much because they feel they should. Because
and then you get that bitterness and resentment.
Exactly.
It changes the relationship, doesn't it?
Exactly. So, I do think it's a real difficult one, because I mean, as soon as when my mum was in hospital, although we knew that she wouldn't be around for long, she kept wanting to come home, but I kept saying, "Mum, I can't care for you as the nurses and doctors will," and I didn't want to say it to her, but I didn't want that responsibility. They're paid to have that responsibility, and I did feel a bit mean at the time, but even for my mum's sake, in the end, it was better for her to be where she was, and she got amazing care. So, like you say, the bitterness. I don't know. Is it bitterness? Would it have been bitterness? I'm thinking. I just would have found it difficult.
But
I would
also
have found it really difficult.
The responsibility. What if something had happened to my mum when she was in my care?
Yeah. Could that then be looked at?
Oh, well, I'd be thinking, what did I do wrong?
Yeah.
Should she have been somewhere else?
Yeah.
You know. So it's very, very difficult. And we may feel different when we're not able to live on our own anymore. If we come to a point where we can't live on our own anymore, we will have to make a decision, won't we? So.
Yeah, it's
a difficult one. I wouldn't dismiss it out of hand, but I think it would have to be the right circumstances, and you know, we'd both have to gain from it. You know?
No, I think so. I mean, it's like saying, "Don't waste your life being bitter" as well. It's very true, because all of a sudden you're getting older and you think, what did I do the last few years apart from being angry at people and stuff?
No, it's very difficult.
Don't abandon your hobbies. If you don't have any, make new ones. You can travel, hike, cook, read, dance. You can adopt a cat or a dog, or grow a kitchen garden and play cards. You get the idea. Yeah, I definitely agree with that, because it's mindful, keeps your brain ticking over.
Absolutely.
You know, with some people, you got dementia and Alzheimer's looming. Always keep your brain ticking over. So even watching TV, I have to be doing something on my phone, a crossword or something. I just feel like they say TV can be brain numbing, can't it? So I do like to be doing something at the same time if I'm awake enough. I do, and I love my hobbies. If I don't get to do my hobbies, then I'm not a happy bunny.
Yes. Well, I think we actually do quite a few of those ones on that list, don't we, between us?
Yeah.
I'm hoping I might get a kitchen garden this year, but if I don't, I will next year. We've got our knitting and our sewing between us. We do play cards. We play cards with each other, don't
yeah,
we?
Exactly.
Yeah, enjoy that. I've got my cats. I love my cats and my chickens.
But even, it's like, again, YouTube comes into the forefront. It's just like the quizzes on there, it's amazing. And the thing is, with some of the quizzes, if you actually get it right, it makes you feel so good because you think, God, my memory's not as bad as I thought. We're always looking for new quizzes, aren't we? And we've just started this connection one. That really tests my brain. But I still haven't finished it. I've abandoned today's because I still can't get the last one, but not the last one. The third one that you have to get. Yeah. Because I just find it really hard. But another day I'd go on there and it'll just click into place. Yeah. But then I don't trust myself, thinking it can't be that simple.
But it's challenging, and therefore it's good, isn't it?
Oh, I love a challenge. If anything that's put in front of me, if it's a challenge, I just love to go for it. I can't think of anything really that I wouldn't want to.
Your YouTube is very good for your brain, isn't it? Because
technology-wise, I suppose it keeps my brain.
You've had to learn new skills to actually just set it up in the first place.
Yeah.
Had to learn ways of presenting yourself. Picking the subjects and how you put it together, and people are loving your series where you're interviewing people.
Yeah.
That's
the only thing is it's got its stresses because it's not easy to keep up with all the other people that are doing YouTube. You think like you're not as good as, if you like, but for the few people that do watch it, they're enjoying it, but I just need a few more. I shouldn't compare. This is right. I shouldn't compare, but it's I don't compare as much as I used to. But it's hard not to.
Yes.
But I'm proud of myself for having done it at my age.
Yes, definitely.
Put it that way, because I was turned 60 when I started it.
Yeah.
So and that's the only side of it. I think because I would imagine the majority of people watching YouTube are younger, and they probably see me as an old lady. Why would I watch her? Instead of thinking, sometimes I've got life experiences and look at things in a different perspective. It might be interesting to watch. But it's another hobby that I've started.
Yeah.
Dancing's one I would love to be doing, but it's not that easy to do in the country, is it? In fact, I might even have forgotten how to dance. It's been so long. Yeah, we love to travel.
We like doing, don't we?
They're saying hike, but basically that's our walking. We don't particularly hike.
I wouldn't use the word
unless
hike.
Because we had found a stick each the other day, and we used this stick going through the little forest. Would that be called a hike?
I think it's the nearest we've got to a hike.
Yeah, exactly.
You're quite impressed with that stick help, weren't you?
It was. I said to Duncan, we should definitely get one. As for adopting a cat or a dog, that's you. You've adopted a cat basically because he came to you, didn't he?
He did come to me.
I'm not into that at the moment. If I was living on my own in the house, maybe I would for company. In fact, when we did have a cat, we did rescue a cat, and that was because I thought Duncan was going to be working away. Might even because at that time I didn't know what work he would get and thought he'd be working in the UK. It'd be company for me. As it turned out, he only ever did 2 weeks in the UK. The rest of it's been here. So once we lost pups, I didn't really want to replace him. It's just not our thing. Because we love to travel and we want to do things, not to stop us doing that if we can.
Yeah.
But and I'd always had the thoughts of a dog would be nice, but I get the same thing, isn't it? In fact, it's more difficult with a dog, isn't it?
They're more dependent on you.
Yeah.
Definitely. Izzy's dependent on me because of needing her insulin injections.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for that, then I could definitely leave Marco for 2 or 3 days. Because you can have those.
I thought you were going to say 2 or 3 weeks then.
2 or 3 months.
Yeah.
In fact, it wouldn't be. Yeah, just the poo might build up.
Yeah.
But you can buy those feeders that drop food at timed things
because they're
now,
not as dependent on you as a dog, so they're quite happy to go off doing their own thing, aren't they? Cats, that's the thing.
Yeah. But get your hobbies. Doesn't matter what they are.
Yeah, because it could be. I mean, I love my painting and art, but because I've got so many hobbies, I don't have time to do it all. And that's a big frustration of mine, that there's not enough hours in the day. But I suppose everybody would say that.
Yeah, it's interesting. I don't know if I told you. I think I did. I was talking to Callum, my oldest, about writing group, and I said, I don't know if I'm going to continue to go. So I find it quite intimidating sometimes, and also I don't know if I'm getting any better at it. And he said to me, "Do you need to get any better at it? Are you enjoying going? Do you enjoy
But isn't it a natural
it?
thing though to want to improve?"
Yes. But it did challenge me when he said that.
Yeah.
And I thought, all the time I'm enjoying it, does it matter?
I think it would for me. It shouldn't do, but it would for me, because I'd be sitting there thinking, look, she's so good, why can't I get as good as that?
Yes.
And why haven't I in this time?
Yes.
That would be me.
Yes, that would be you. So I reflected on that a lot, actually, and I thought, is it about getting better and better, or is it just about doing something you enjoy?
Yeah. No, I get that. If you can be in that place, that's because if it helps your brain and you can get things down on paper that have been eating away at your brain, that just get them out on paper, and once it's read, and you can analyse it almost, can't you, and see. That's what diaries and all that are about, aren't they? When you look back and you think, oh God, I've moved on from that.
Yes. Oh yes. Yeah.
So there's definitely something to be said from getting things on paper.
Yeah.
Some people would say, don't document everything because there's always people can always see it if you don't want them to, sort of thing.
Well, one of those podcasts I listen to is about death. One of the things she asks is there anything you don't want anyone to find?
Yeah.
And quite often people say, I've got a friend who is instructed to go in and delete my Google history. And other people say, I want them to burn all my diaries. So.
But at the same time, if you're not there, what does it matter?
Exactly.
Gives them something to talk about.
Exactly. But always have hobbies if you can, if you've got the time. Get out of the house, meet people you haven't seen in a while, experience something new or something old. The important thing is to leave the house from time to time. Go to museums, go walk through a park, get out there.
Definitely. It's very easy to let yourself just stay at home, isn't it?
Yes.
And I know for sure from experience, even on times where I thought, really cannot be bothered, and I'll go and come back feeling so much better. I mean, it's like when we've dreaded going for walks sometimes, you know, I really don't fancy it. We've both done it, haven't we? We've gone out until I really didn't feel like this today. But once you've walked, the adrenaline gets pumping and you blow the cobwebs away and you come back just feeling ready for the day, don't you? It does make you feel better, but it is very easy to just not bother.
Yeah.
I don't go out as much, but that's not because I'm happy at home. I'm happy to be at home doing my own thing, and I'm happy with my own company, but it is important to see other people. But a lot of the time I don't go because I've got stuff here I want to be doing, so I can't be doing everything.
Again, it's balance, isn't it? If you're happy, I mean, I have days sometimes when I think, all I'm going to do today, I'm going to have a bath, and then I'm going to read.
Yeah.
And that's a happy day. If that's what I want to do, then that's a happy day. Other days, I mean, we went to that art exhibition, didn't we?
Yeah, we weren't that sure about it at first.
And we were like, Wednesday afternoon, I've got things to do. But we went and it was stimulating, and we saw some lovely art, didn't we?
It was amazing stuff,
Yeah, we wouldn't have seen anywhere else, and I was really pleased to have gone to that. So
the only downside of it was it just reminded me how little painting I've been doing. But no,
so
it
negative,
was lovely.
Look on the positive.
Yes. Well, no, that's not necessarily negative, but it's just a reminder.
Yeah. So get the balance right. Some people are never in the house. Some people never leave the house. So
I don't know how they do that. You know, people are out so much. I think, God, the things I've got to be doing.
Yes. So it's about getting that balance right, isn't it? But think it's important. It's important just to have a casual conversation with a stranger, even if you're never going to see them again.
I don't know if that happens very often, but I suppose it depends what you call talking to a stranger, doesn't it? You're always going to talk to a stranger in the shop, aren't you? At the counter or something, someone you've not met before. It's and especially for us, it's a test of our French. Isn't it?
God, yes.
It's
a hobby I wish I didn't have.
Is it?
At my age, I wish I'd learned. It's my biggest regret. I wish I'd learnt French at a younger age.
But you're still going to lessons. We're not. And I think.
Your French is good enough.
But it could come to a point where I'm asking you because you're still learning the grammar and things, whereas I'm not. So that can lose it.
Please don't depend on me.
But it's going to be quite good now having because as you listeners know, we go to Chairfit. And now Sharon's neighbour has joined us, and she's French, so it's quite nice to just have that bit of conversation, bit of French conversation. And she's very patient, and if we don't make it clear, she says "Je parle comprendre." She basically don't understand what we're on about, but
she is very patient, and she speaks at a pace that mostly I can understand. So I'm pleased she's coming.
But we've been trying to get you to be more friendly with her for a long time, haven't we? Because she's your immediate neighbour, and you've got things in common with your chickens and your cats.
Yes.
So it's quite good, and you're living alone, both of you. Yes. So it's quite nice to have that.
It's taken me a while to get over that initial panic.
Yeah.
When someone speaks French to me.
Yeah.
And I just go, I have no French words in my head. They've all disappeared. I don't know where they've gone.
But the only difficult, at least with Natalie and Leon, I can either text them or I can talk to them on WhatsApp.
Yes.
Martine hasn't got a phone.
Hasn't got a mobile.
So you've either got to knock on the door or you've got to. You pass a message in a post box or whatever.
Yeah, if it's something I can't translate, I will put a note in a post box.
And because that's what she said yesterday about Chairfit, wasn't she? So this is Sharon's note, basically.
Yes,
and she had a little bit of a laugh, so she must think that's quite sweet. But basically, definitely get out. Again, it's that, like everything, it's just keeping yourself, listening to people, speaking to people, and...
Definitely.
Move on to the next one. Oh, and actually saying that, and also that's where YouTube's been quite good, because I've always said it makes us go to places that we might not have necessarily thought of before. So or especially me, even if I'm not necessarily with you, I go somewhere because it's going to make good content, or I want to share it. So it makes me get out there and do stuff.
Yes.
Speak in courteous tones and try not to complain or criticise too much unless you really need to. Try to accept situations as they are.
Go on then, Jan.
Difficult one for me, this one, isn't it? I think I'm courteous.
I don't think no, you're not rude. Accepting situations as they are. Well, we've discussed before the podcast that you find criticism difficult sometimes.
Yes, I'm not good with criticism. Just yesterday, I was just telling Sharon, I put some photographs of some bags I'd made, because everybody else was sharing their bags they'd made and everything on Facebook. And I just thought, I'll do that, And I just had a barrage of people coming back. Well, it felt to me like they were picking holes. But because I said on there that I hadn't sold any, they were basically letting me know why they hadn't sold. Which at first I was obviously upset by, because I said I don't take criticism, but then I had to then start thinking of the positive of it.
Yes.
And taking on board what they were saying. So, I do not deal with criticism very well. I don't know whether there's a different way people can approach me about it. I don't know.
But I think most people would have responded feeling quite disgruntled. But it's what you do after that, isn't it? It's whether you just let that fester.
Well, this is it. I mean, I did get a little bit frustrated reading them out, but then at the end of it, said, I will always try and end any conversation on a positive if I can. And I just ended up saying, well, thank you for your feedback, and thank you for comments. I've learned a lot today, which really I had.
Yes.
So it's things like that. But generally,
I don't think
Duncan daren't criticise me because he knows he can always tell by my face. Just don't say another word, Dunk.
think we're complainers.
We're not. No. Well, if we have a bit of a grumble, does it still count as a complaint if you both complain at the same time and then laughing about it? Or is it just getting stuff off their chest? I don't know.
Yes, if you're just getting... I think being a person who spent years just internalising everything, I don't think that's healthy at all.
No.
So if you can get it out in a way that doesn't hurt anybody's feelings, then that's really positive. And
that's where you do need sort of like-minded friends and acquaintances around you, don't you? Because then you know you can say it, get it off your chest, and then they'll agree with you, or just think, that's it, said, and move on. It's it's don't complain, criticise too much. I don't think I do. Not face to face with people. I definitely don't. I might criticise them on the TV, but they can't hear me.
No.
That's just get my little bit of criticism out of the way.
Exactly.
And try and accept situations where I think I do most of the time.
Yes.
Because I think you've got to, because otherwise you will be bitter again, won't you?
Yeah, we're getting back to that. Thinking you've had, been dealt a rough
been
deal
hard
in
done by.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
been dealt a rough deal in life.
Yeah, I mean, you can initially, like, I think just an example was the holiday we was going to go on last October. We were going to go to Dubrovnik, weren't we? And initially we were so angry and fed up about it because we decided it was our decision. We could have still tried to go and probably could have got there, but we didn't because of the strikes. The what do you call it? Something action.
Industrial action.
Yeah, industrial action.
Oh, right.
There was these people turning up at airports and their flights were cancelled. But we didn't want that last minute disappointment, so we cancelled it, and we was all eating away really, because we were angry with ourselves for cancelling it, thinking we probably could have gone, and angry with the people that were striking and all that. But in the end, I ended up thinking, well, we went somewhere else.
Yeah.
Out of that came a different holiday, and we will go another time. So it's you just got to, again, it's getting that silver lining.
Yes.
Did we do in the end? We went to the Vendée instead, didn't we? And probably cheaper holiday than it was to go to Dubrovnik. But again, positive out of the negative.
That's what you've got to do. This is a difficult one, isn't it?
Am
I reading this one?
Yeah, if you like.
Pains and discomfort go hand in hand with getting older. Try not to dwell on them, but accept them as part of life. It's a difficult one.
Well, but if you think about it, we say it all the time, some pains we get, because they're always there, you almost forget what it's like to not have them. It's just normal, isn't it? Especially if it's something that's gone on for a long time. Well, the only thing I would say is my neck at the moment. It is normal, but I really wish it wasn't there anymore.
Yeah. You keep trying to find reasons.
Yeah.
And there may not be
and analysing it, and there may not be one, but in some ways, if you've got a reason for something, it can make it feel better.
Okay.
And you can deal with it more.
Yeah.
Or just accept and move on.
But it happens, does it? Some morning you wake up and you think, the whole of my left side just really hurts. I've got no idea really why.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? Very often we hurt ourselves and we don't even remember how we did that.
I've got bruisey leg.
You've got a bruise on your leg.
I've showed everybody.
But you know how you did that.
But I have showed everybody.
You have.
So really
it's funny because you did that, but the week before you fell over in the car?
Yes, I did.
It's just that's the way things are, isn't it, sometimes?
Yes. For everybody that's listening, I banged my leg. Got a nasty bruise.
Fit through the sympathy through the screen, listeners. Yeah, I've probably got other pains going on because it's just the way, because of our age, but I'm so used to, and because of medication causes pain side effects. So that is where I say about finding reasons. I know why certain bits of me hurt because I know that's the side effects of the medication. Yes. This neck business is. It's not on.
It's not on.
I can't be doing it. And I'm doing the exercises and everything, thinking it'll get better, but it's not going anywhere. So, but I'm trying not to dwell on them. But this is where doing hobbies and everything and going out and doing stuff distracts you from it.
Well, yes. I mean, that's a good point actually.
Don't sit indoors dwelling over it like anything.
Sometimes distraction is a good thing.
Mm.
Yeah, it can stop you just dwelling on whether it's a pain or something that's going round and round your head. You know.
Definitely.
Yeah.
But that goes the same with not even just pain and discomfort, things that are worrying you, isn't it? It's the same thing. You just go out and a distraction can put it to the back of your mind and it doesn't seem anything like as bad.
And I will say as well, sometimes you don't have to tolerate that pain. There is a solution.
Yeah.
And I remember meeting someone at Vigrenia, I can't even remember who it was, who had a very bad knee pain. And she said, oh, well, you know, I just have a couple of drinks in the evening and put up with it, you know. And there are certain pains you don't have to put up with.
No, exactly.
And
why would you have that pain in your life if you can get rid of it?
Exactly. And having had my knee replacements, I'm very good.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, people wouldn't necessarily know what I was like before, you know, and I look back on photos now where I couldn't straighten my legs properly, and I think, oh, wow.
Yeah, you'd lived like that for years, haven't you?
Yeah. So you don't have to necessarily put up with the pain, do you? So.
Well, that's why I always, sometimes, you know, don't think I could be a hypochondriac, but...
Wait till he's 65.
Exactly. But I think that's why I try and find a reason why, because once you know the reason why, you can often do something about it.
Find the solution,
which is why I've been for 2 massages and I'm doing the exercises, so now I'm still thinking there must be a way of getting rid of this. It's like the same with I said to you about the acid reflux and everything, and I was starting to get worried about that because it was causing me quite some pain in my chest. And so I worked on it, basically. I took what I had to take, and then I realised, as I said last week, I suddenly realised, hang on a minute, it's gone.
Yeah.
So, you know, because I'd done something about it, why?
Yes.
That would have just got worse. That's the other thing as well, isn't it? If you ignore it, it can get worse and worse, then you're going to end up with more problems, bigger problems.
Yes. Well, going back to that earlier one of taking care of your body, you know, make sure you have all the right tests and, you know.
Yeah, I mean, the prime example is when we was from the Italy holiday, wasn't it? I hurt my knee. And that was hurting for what seems like years, but it was only months. But once the doctor said to me, walk, I want you to walk every day, I want you to at least move and walk about every day, because he suddenly thought, well, actually that makes sense, because I need to get that muscle around my knee stronger to hold that joint that's hurting.
Yes.
And as soon as I know now, as soon as I start walking, my knee, I'm not getting the same pain.
And Chev, it's very good for, Valley's very good at working on the muscles that will help us in older age.
Yeah.
You know, she
does.
But
this is then that comes down to guidance as well, isn't it? Yeah. Next one, if you've been offended by someone, forgive them. That's that hits a nerve a bit with me. I'm not sure if I've forgiven, but I've moved on a bit. Occasionally it comes up. If you've offended someone, apologise. If you've offended someone. Yeah. Oh God, that would eat away at me if I didn't apologise. Don't drag around resentment with you. It only serves to make you sad and bitter, and it doesn't matter who was right. Someone once said, holding a grudge is like taking poison and expecting the other person to die. Don't take that poison, forgive, forget, and move on with your life. Oh yeah, you definitely can dwell on things for too long.
Yes.
And I would say I've only got one real anger in my life that could very well have it did spoil a lot of things, but I've moved on. It's only certain people and certain things bring it up again, and then I find myself sitting there saying, but why?
I think you've moved on a lot.
And knowing that I wasn't going mad, that other people agreed with me helps as well.
Well, over time, yes, I think because other relationships have deteriorated around certain individuals, then people have come back to you, haven't they, and said, perhaps you were right all along, you know. But the important thing is to try and let all the bitterness around it go. I know that's difficult, but it was because it was caught up with an important celebration for you as well. But yeah.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't sound bitter, but I do certain things that upset me. That's what I try not to think about it or bring it up.
Yes.
Right.
And you don't need that.
And I'm passing the last one on to you.
Oh,
no,
yeah.
it's actually, I don't know if it is one, but you're going to read it anyway.
Okay. Laugh. Laugh away your worries. Remember, you are one of the lucky ones. You managed to have a life, a long one. Many never get to this age, never get to experience a full life. My valued friends, enjoy a peaceful life at this point in your life. Don't worry, be happy.
See that picture underneath? That's why I thought it was written by a man, because there was a picture of a man.
Oh, there is a picture of a man underneath. Yeah.
So yeah, but it's true. That's what you were saying earlier, wasn't it? That you've lost a lot of friends that were younger than you and all that, and same as I have. And I've lost a cousin that was stupid age, and I had a friend lost a baby, and that's the sort of things you think, oh God, we are so lucky, really.
We are lucky.
And that's what you have to remember.